All right, so here is a little update with the sealants. I'm at the shop here and I pulled the canopy out so I don't get too soaked. Um, but they're all still kind of holding up pretty good. I mean, there's some of them that I was, in questioning with the Hyper Seal and the Opti Seal, but I did that video of just the rain hitting it, and they're all, repelling pretty good. Some of them, the clear finish, the bead isn't as tight, but it's still repelling very good, and even some of the other ones that I was kind of iffy about are still decent. And this is not washed. This is almost 2 weeks here outdoors, and you can hear it was a pretty heavy rain, and everything's just beating off, really good. SPS graphene, very tight bead, very nice. IGL Premier probably has the best bead with the best contact angle there, but BioSeal too. I mean, you really wouldn't even be able to tell the difference where IGO Premier ends and BioSeal starts. Both of these have very, very good beading formation here. So, but I mean, overall, GYEON looking good. Clear finish, it's okay. Opti Seal and Hyper Seal, it's like ceramic detail spray, actually kind of decent. And then Tack Systems Quartz Max, a very, very tight bead as well. That's very good looking beads for, we're on about 3.5 weeks. And this is not washed, so it will be washed, and we'll see if any of these properties and features here enhance. But so far, pretty good test. And like I said, I like letting the rain hit it because I feel like too much pressure from a pressure washer, it kind of over depicts the self-cleaning properties. So this is a nice little shot here. So we had a nice rainfall this morning, and gives us a good look at how everything's holding up. All right, so here we are post-wash, and it's funny because even though when the water hits it in certain areas, it's almost hydrophilic, but then as the water settles, it becomes hydrophobic. So it's really interesting to see routinely how these sealants are holding up. All I did wash-wise, because I'm just doing this from home, like I said, it's not a torture test. This is a longevity test. This car sits outside all the time, and this was after about 2.5 weeks now. So we're almost at 1 month since all this stuff's been applied. And I just took my mitt here, which is laying on the ground, and I literally just put a bunch of soap on there and just kind of slop washed it, okay? So starting on this side here, which I'm probably the most impressed with, SPS Graphene, IGL Premier, BioSeal, and God, what was in front here? Oh, Blackfire. The Blackfire is, I don't know if it's because I washed it twice. It's definitely sticking. So it's definitely, I'd say, the first, you can see where it's sticking up at the top there. But it hasn't really gotten worse over 2 weeks. So at first it's like it degrades and then it just kind of hangs out. These top three though are insane. So BioSeal, IGO Premier, and SPS Graphene are all doing incredibly well. I'm seeing no water spotting. You can't even tell where one starts and one ends. It's just very strong bead. It's just, all three of these are incredibly impressive, okay? Moving to the center here, GYEON Cure still doing very well. Clear finish up front here, it's weird. It's like now the beading's back. It sheets, but it still repels. And then as the water just kind of lays on there, it'll still bead. So even though at first I was like, it's kind of wearing down, it's still holding up, it's still beading. Down in front here, Quartz Max is incredibly shiny, much stronger than the Blackfire. I think the Blackfire right now is the weakest one. It's sticking a lot more. Tack System Quartz Max, very, very nice. Surprisingly, the ceramic detail spray isn't doing too bad. Definitely weaker beads though. You can see how it's just not as tight. Obviously, angle of the hood will play a role, but if you look at these beads versus say the GYEON, you can see that the GYEON is much tighter. Same thing with IGL and BioSeal. Up here, it's funny because HyperSeal and OptiSeal showing pretty prominent beads, but on water contact, it sheets, it becomes hydrophilic. So the protection is definitely still there. It just reacts differently. That was the wrong setting. Hang on, I'm trying to get a different setting on my water. There we go. So you can kind of see everything's beating fairly well. This side by far is just the best though. BioSeal, Graphene, and IGO Premier, in my opinion, right now are the three front runners. GYEON Cure isn't too bad either. And this side, it's tough. I mean, only time will tell. They all repel very well. So there's really, I would say, the only one that's probably weaker is the Blackfire sealant. There's definitely a lot more sticking and sheeting, but it is still repelling. So I guess it's a good sign if you plan on using any of these. All of them are working fairly well. 1 month in, with this is its second wash. Trying to find that setting in my hose here. Oh, no, I think it was coming out. So they all beat up very well. You can tell from the first part of the video when it was not washed, they were still very, very good beat. It was a heavy rain. So it's funny, it's like the longer these, at first I thought this side was a clear front runner, which I still feel it's stronger. I mean, in my opinion, from the look of the beads and everything, I mean, those are some good, clean beads. Very good contact angle. Like I said, when we get down here to Blackfire, you can clearly see that it is weaker. My guess on this would probably be the first one to go. GYEON Cure, pretty strong beads, very, very close to the three front runners over here. Clear Finish Radiance, it's iffy. I don't know. There's some sealants that start to break down and they just kind of, they have a really strong bead, but then they kind of perform like this for, 2-3 months, which isn't bad, you want this all the time, but you're not always going to get that. So we'll see how that holds up. The Quartz Max, I think Quartz Max is doing very well. We can see ceramic detail spray that the bead, it's kind of like the Blackfire. The beads they're weaker, some of them are tight, some of them are not. Down here, Quartz Max, where it's on a sharp angle, the beads are still very strong. So I think that's going to hold up pretty well. And I'm still on the fence here about OptiSeal and HyperSeal. I don't know what to think. I've honestly never done a test with these like this, where I just kind of let them go and just seeing how they last. Usually I tell people between 4 and 5 months, depending on how, HyperSeal 4 to 5 months. OptiSeal you might get 3 months out of it. We'll see. Again, I'm just using a neutral soap, 3D pink soap, and just 'cause it's a very commonly used neutral soap. So we'll see how these last. I'm gonna just dry this hood off, and I'll probably let this go for another 10 days, and we'll see where we're at from there. So stay tuned.